something different tonight. Hi, baby. My kitties are wondering why I'm drawing in the dark. So, I'm going to show you how I make my cards. Well, let's just take a little tour first. So, here's something that I created with a combination of a couple of different cottages that I did. It's kind of bright. Let me see if I can turn down the brightness. Is it like a regular phone? Let's see. Brightness. Brightness. Hi, Giggles. You have? All right. What kind of stuff have you been doing? I just saw you like my what is it, TikTok video over there. I used to go live on TikTok on Wednesday nights, but it was such a weird crowd. It was just different, and I don't know, I had a kind of a scary episode, so I'd stopped doing it after that. I thought it was like a sign that I wasn't supposed to do it anymore. Let me just see about um display and brightness. Okay, yeah, it's really bright. So if I turn it down just a little bit, maybe that helps. Or I can do dark appearance, but that doesn't make a difference when I go to Procreate. Okay, that's better, I think, right? I don't know. So, if anybody needs a reading, I'll interrupt, to get to readings. But, I realize it's going to be a slow transition, and it's not like I'm going to take over this channel with just digital art stuff. But I just want everybody to know um, that still a tarot reader, and I'm very much into my tarot. It's just I'm very much into creating my own deck to use for everybody. Oh, yeah, cartoons is fun. And there's a lot of great these cats, they're being so silly in the dark. There's a lot of great tutorials that you can follow of people who like cartoons and stuff. Here's some landscapes. These are some that James Julier tutorial helped me do. So like he has like so I put together these cottages and to create as just like I like different elements of each of these cottages. I was in a cottage mode one week and I just did all these cottage. I mean they're quite time consuming, but I was looking for, and I put them all together and made that. I was looking for a home to give my, I'll find them. Where's fairies? To give my little couple here. Now, there's two places where you can see a lot of my artwork, and that is Procreate, and also you can see it occasionally on Instagram. I'll post things randomly. And this is my Three of Pentacles. So I see Three of Pentacles really is this unit. It's the 1, 2, 3 and the baby. And the creation of the, is the baby. But if you zoom in really closely, you can see there's pentacles on her bracelet. And then I did give them a nice little place to live. But at first I thought I was going to give them a cottage on the outside, but I ended up giving them a home on the inside, an inside home. So the Pentacles, where are you? Three of Pentacles. There they are. So there they are inside their nice little house. And so then we have three again. We have 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3 pentacles. And the carpenter guy is making the bed for the baby. And so he's like the skilled guy or whatever that you would see in the Three of Pentacles. So I'm trying to, incorporate some of these visions I have, but also like tie them all back the the Rider-Waite-Smith deck as well. And so yeah, this is the one I just finished, the Three of Swords, which is like it's kind of like it rained on my parade or rained on my picnic. That's the one thing that makes this girl sad. But I see it as like she and you can see her tears. I see it as she like asked, or she was asked to go on a picnic and there was a no-show. So like she got stood up. The person she was supposed to meet up didn't show. And but this different from most Three of Swords. This has like a happy side thing. Another guy shows up with an umbrella to keep the rain off of her and also come in and give her company if she wants. And then here's the heart with the three swords in it. the I don't know how to pronounce it. The chartreuse. I call it the chartreuse board, but it's not chartreuse. It's chartreuse. Anyway, it's the hors d'oeuvre plate. And yeah, so there you have it. I thought, and there's like a lot of rain, and so I had fun working with rain on this one. And it's just putting a bunch of elements together. So now I have this idea to make the Three of Wands. So my Three of Wands, my Two of Wands is this one's one, I think this is a really cool concept. And it's been fun, just like working out my concept in my mind of what I want to do. So in the Two of Wands, we have like this soul couple. They're in a higher dimension. This is like higher love energy. It kind of comes from the song higher love, and there's a line in there that talks about a yearning, but there isn't a yearning. If you really think about it, your person's with you all the time. Like if you believe in soulmates, your soulmate's always with you, or your twin flame, or however you want to see it, that your counterpart, that other one, if you believe in that, or if you even care about it. But so that person is always there. But you don't always get to experience them in the physical, and you don't always get to, the timing and the way things line up don't always happen the way you're hoping they will. But the Two of Swords here, the swords are in their, and not swords, I'm sorry, wands. The Two of Wands here are shown in their hands. So it's kind of a magical cosmic library they go to, and they use their wands to unravel this scroll. Originally, I was going to put the wands stuck in the scroll, but they use their wands to unravel the scroll, and then this map comes to life, and it's a cosmic map. We have we have the world actually here, so very reminiscent of the Rider-Waite-Smith world that you see in the Two of Wands, but this is more a cosmic version of it. And to me, it shows that people can be together through multiple dimensions and timelines and universes and lifetimes, etc. It's an amazing maze. I mean, it's more complex than even what you would see here, but this is just a sample of like the complexity of the matrix out there, the Akashic records and quantum physics and all of that, the way that we connect through spans of time. And they're in this couple, this soulmate couple is in this cosmic library, looking at the map, trying to figure out where they're going to find themselves in the physical realm. And so the Three of Wands, sorry, the Three of Wands is this is the Tower. What am I doing? No, So my concept for the Three of Wands is that the man in the Two of Wands has come down on Earth to find his woman. He's got his map. And there's that ship that's in the Three of Wands. The three poles is the symbolize the wands. And instead of the girl, he has a fairy with him. And the fairy represents the girl that hasn't materialized in the physical form yet. So he's still searching. He's searching for her. And this is his wingman helping him find her. So this represents the three. This is the one half of the soulmate. She represents sort of the ethereal version, the developed or the not material version or not human form yet of the soul, the other soulmate. And the wingman represents not just a man, but it represents the way two souls can come together on Earth, or people, friends, locations, whatever. It's that third element that helps bring people together. Oftentimes sometimes it's more than three things, but for the purposes of the Three of Wands, that's what it is. The wingman brings them together. Now my deck is called the Romantic Faery Tarot Archetype. So I have archetypes running through this deck. So far we have all the major arcana. Then when we get into the minor arcana, the aces are mythical, magical things. So we have the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Wands is the unicorn. The Ace of Cups is the fountain of youth. The Ace of Swords is Excalibur, and the Ace of Pentacles is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Then we go into the twos. The Two of Wands is that soulmate couple. The Two of Cups is the culmination, the celebration of finding each other. The Two of Swords is called the frequency, and this represents two people being like apart on Earth, but apart physically, maybe long distance or something, but yet still connected through some kind of telepathic frequency. And then we have the Two of Pentacles, and the Two of Pentacles is my Renaissance man, and he is definitely an archetype. So the Renaissance man, I think, was the first archetype that I came up with past beyond the major arcana. And the Renaissance man, yes. So the other twos represent frequency, higher love, and union. But now I have a few more archetypes. So now in the three of where am I? The Three of Pentacles, Three of Swords, we have the Good Samaritan, and then the Three of Pentacles, we have the Carpenter, if you want to consider that if you want to look at that. But he's not the main focus necessarily, but he is, so the Carpenter. And then for the Three of Wands, we have the Wingman. So that's what I'm going to be working on, the wing. So what I usually do, usually I have a really rough sketch, but in this case, I was able to get a lot nicer detailed sketch. What I'll do is sometimes I'll pick family members or actors or something like that to represent the people. And I'm thinking I don't have a whole lot of different ethnicities here. I have a lot, a few Hispanic people because there's some Hispanic people in my family. I have this African American lady and this Native American type guy. But I'd like to add a few more different ethnicities. Here we have Asian couple. And so I'm thinking it would be nice to maybe, I mean, to maybe make the wingman maybe black or vice versa. That's, that's possible. Could do that. So then I would like research actors, or it doesn't have to be actors. It could be just random images of people, somebody, different people that I find captivating, interesting, and also helps if they have the right lighting to them. So the sun is coming down this way and hitting his face and hitting his face that way. I like that kind of sunlight angle. I have similar sunlight angle in that last picture, but this is fine too. I don't like to repeat too many things over and over again, but I do like bright light, so I think that works. Okay. And so one of the things that I do, the magic, this, I think a lot of people could do this. You don't have to be an artist necessarily. You just have to be able to trace good. so uh so I so here you can follow me on Procreate, the things that I do. So I copy this. Or actually, yeah. Now, if you're going to copy a whole canvas, you copy canvas. But since this is only one layer, that's fine. But I'll copy canvas anyway. All right. So I put it, then I paste it. And this is screen size. So the sketch I can get from different places, like AI sometimes. As you see, it's kind of blurry or grainy, and by the time I get to it, it'll be very much sharper and pretty. So it's still it's still a sketch form, and also like sometimes people's appearances and features are not my liking. It looks a little like too much brow there for me, but it will help for the placement of everything. The fairy is very cute. I like her figure, and I like her wings, and I like her the way she color, and I like her iridescence. So I'm definitely gonna keep a lot of that. Just give a little more detail to her face and stuff. So then I will duplicate this and move it over here. And then I'll take it and make it a little more see-through. And then I'll add a layer. And here's a wonderful magical thing that happens on Procreate. You need, you can make a palette if you want. I have a lot of beautiful palettes over here from James Julier. All of these beautiful color combinations. And you can create your own palette. I did one palette of my own on the Satyr and the Renaissance Festival man. But what I really just usually do is I grab colors. So I'm going to start with the bridge. And I'm just going to I'm going to grab kind of a medium color like that. And I'll probably go back at some point and it'll be changed eventually. But that'll be a good starting point for my outline. And this is the next step. All I do is start to outline. It's very calming, relaxing, soothing. So here, your brush. I always sketch with airbrush just because I was taught on airbrush through James Julier, and I think airbrushing soft brush is like it's easy for me. I just like it. I don't know if it's not exactly like a pencil, but it's what I'm used to now, so I use that. And then the size, it just depends. Sometimes if you get it too thick, then it can interfere with the dimensions. So maybe a little bit thinner, a little bit low on the 1%, as he would say. And then if you just hold it like that and it snaps into place and it goes straight. So here's just a little bit of a tutorial for you guys. And see how it's squiggly, but then you hold it and then it goes straight. And you hold it and it goes straight. You know what? I should probably, well, that's fine. Yeah, because that's fine. I mean, I could like make it go off the page. Maybe I should. I think I will. That way. So take this layer and go to your dimensions, whatever this is called. This is, not sure what, he uses some word for it. I don't know what it's called exactly. And just stretch it out a bit. The main reason why I have this one over here is for comparing the colors and making sure I'm choosing the right colors. Yeah, so this is my color palette more or less. Okay. And so here I go with the lines again. And I snap it. Oh no, actually this one I could go all the way because I don't have to stop. But see that the angle gets kind of funny. And then you hold it in place and it creates an angle. But try this again. Let's see what happens if I hold it in there and yeah. But like wood is a little wobbly. And by the way, that is back, that's undo. So I use that a lot. And this is eraser. So those are the little, and then if you need to put it on 100% eraser so you can be more precise. There you go. It's like, so as a pencil, here's your pencil. I don't know, it's you know, it's, and there's your eraser. And this is smudge, but we don't need smudge right now. Okay. I'll end up going back anyway and making it not like so perfectly lined because it is wood and it has sort of like a little bit of a jaggediness to it, just a tiny bit. So it's not going to look that straight, but I'm just like placing everything right now. The bottom is actually a little bit more straight line. And then and when I worked on that little stage for the three sisters, that was fun. I really like that background of the Grecian columns and stuff and the color palette on that I liked a lot. I enjoyed it. And it was so nice because I had already drawn those three ladies, me and my sisters, because I was gonna add us to the band. We just didn't fit. Now this pole, it goes down into the water, so maybe I'll just lighten it up and just kind of like indicate it here a little bit. I don't know, indicate it here just so I can remember that it's there. But I'll like I'll go back. See, it's much darker here anyway. It'll probably just be blue at a certain point. At like right past that, it'll be mostly blue. Now you can like if anybody needs any help on their drawing, you can always ask me, reach out to me if you want to. Same bat channel, same bat station. You can reach out to me at artladyjas@gmail.com if you have any questions or if you about Procreate or my particular process or any recommendations I have. Like, I am a portrait artist mostly, but there are some amazing Procreate portrait artists out there, and I am not really. I mean, I really haven't gotten to that level yet. I don't think. I know I've done a lot on my own. So basically, I wouldn't say that I'm like to like on the level to give tutorials, but I can answer questions, especially to for people who are newer at it than I am, you know? So if you need any help, I'm happy to help. It's just I am not a pro on Procreate. I am still kind of an amateur, but I've learned so much, so much. And this like was a gift. Um, my iPad was a gift from, well, it's kind of a gift from you guys, really, but it was a combination of things. So I had been asking for an iPad and Procreate for a while on my channel. I had mentioned that a lot. Had a lot of different readings that I did. Sometimes during the lives, I guess. And I would say if you go to my, I'm getting all my P's mixed up. If you go to my Patreon page and support me over there, then I'll use that money to buy an iPad. Well, those of you who did donate over there, and also those of you who are members here as well, like all your money always goes to things that help me, the channel, helps me eat and things like that. So it all like goes in the same place. It's all a beautiful thing when you guys donate and help me out. I really, 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 really appreciate it. And but also my son-in-law and my daughter, they were the ones who officially bought it for me. I kept putting it off, like there might have been times where I had a little bit of money saved up from what y'all sent me, and then I would spend it on groceries or something else. So finally, for Christmas, they bought it for me, and I was very happy about it. And I mean, the most well used Christmas gift I've had in quite a long time, I must say. And so I also got, this is weird for me to just keep talking about stuff. Okay, so I also got a laminating machine for my daughter this Christmas. Because, I actually meant to, to go to my makeplayingcards.com, and I actually have started uploading some cards already because I just wanted to get a sample of at least the major arcana, right? So I have the major arcana uploaded and ready to print so I could start reading with my new deck. But I don't know why. I put it off mostly because I didn't want to spend money that I could have spent on other people for Christmas presents and stuff. So I was like, I'll wait till later. I'll do it at the beginning of the year. And then this year was just not, so far, I just keep putting it off. But as I put it off and I make more and more drawings, then I think, well, maybe I'll wait and I'll just make a bigger deck to start a bigger sample deck. So one of these days, I might go ahead and print out an initial sample deck of some of my cards I've already made. And then I recently somebody, maybe if I had coffee I would talk even more or just keep rambling. Just recently I saw somebody bought something on Printer Studio. So I have two places where I sell cards. One is makeplayingcards.com and the other is Printer Studio. And Printer Studio is basically, I think it's the same thing as makeplayingcards.com, or at least they have the same, a similar, uh, I was going to say palette. That's not the right word. They have a similar setup, similar steps to creating your deck, but they're kind of described as a just mostly a printer place, you know, where they print different things. And tarot cards is one of the things they print, but they print like pillows and things like that, and tote bags and stuff like that, you know, uh, pajama bottoms, socks. And so their like main thing is not tarot cards, but they do a pretty good job. And the only thing is, makeplayingcards.com has they have they have they have beautiful edges, metallic edges. Now they have silver and blue. By the way, hello, anybody out there listening, thank you so much for listening. If you would like to donate, great. It's optional, of course. And anywhere you see a place, if you'd like to subscribe, that's great. I don't normally just do art on this channel, but I'm trying to incorporate it a little bit more. And because I'm really on a serious journey of creating my own deck, and I'm very excited about it. And yeah, so anything that you guys can do to help me out, I appreciate it. And if you'd like to become a member on Patreon, that's a great way to help me. It's specifically a place for my artwork, and you can see all my images that I've done so far in a really beautiful large scale size. If you like to just listen, it's soothing, that's okay too. Anybody's welcome here for ASMR sounds and or you know, just the pleasure of watching something peaceful or just listening to peaceful chatter and awkward giggles. No. So yeah, Printer Studio is a really nice place. And the reason why I just saw that somebody had bought something over there. I was like, you know what? I need to start uploading more over there because they're in the United States. They're in California. And it might be just a little bit easier to get my stuff. I have not I have not bought anything or tried to work at all. Well, let's see. The last time I worked with makeplayingcards.com was before tariffs, and I don't even know how all of that will work. So, as far as I can tell, though, the prices haven't changed because of tariffs. And now the tariffs have been found illegal anyway. I guess that means the prices will be at a normal rate. But also, you know, makeplayingcards.com, Make Playing Cards is in China. And I just have to say, they a very user-friendly way to make cards. So they're makeplayingcards.com. They're really focused on playing cards, on, you know, like game cards, like play. They make. What am I trying to say? Game cards, games, and game cards. That's what their focus is, and they have a lot of nice textures and color. They have a lot of like pre-made things that you could buy. Um, Game card. They have ones that already have the suits and the queens and the kings, etc. And so you can like buy stuff like that from them. They also have a shop where other people have created things that you can buy, and that's where I have my shop. So I used to, back in the day, buy a few things in bulk and then sell them on Etsy. But one, it got a little pricey to keep doing that. But initially I was quite successful. It's just you just have to put up too much of your own money. Now later on, I discovered a lot of people did a different way of selling their cards. Instead of buying in bulk and then selling them on Etsy, really, and with free shipping and saying, hey, delivery within 3 to 5 business days or whatnot. They instead would say this is like a pre-purchase, um, with like with a guarantee to receive it within a month or something like that, or 3 weeks. And then they would go to makeplayingcards.com and put in the person's address, and it would be sent straight from the publisher. And I did that maybe once or twice, but it was a little bit harrowing because if anything happens to the shipment or if anything's wrong with the cards, I don't have any control over it. And so the sale really kind of becomes between Make Playing Cards and the buyer, and I don't have much say in that, and that's okay and everything. I actually kind of like that, except that it's a bit of my reputation. Like, if Make Playing Cards doesn't do right, then it looks bad on me. And I have to say that Make Playing Cards usually always does right. But I just noticed there have been a couple of weird shipments to me too. So it doesn't all, it's just just a little bit lack of control when you do it that way. And even though I thought that's a really pretty cool idea that other people do that, it's after a while it just got too much work to keep up with going to the post office. And then another thing that happened in the United States. So I was doing a lot of shipping back a few years ago, but um, after things changed in the United States, just the postal system changed in a negative way, and it just became harder and harder to get things sent out properly and it be dependable. I lost merchandise, and I don't know. I mean, that stuff is precious to me, and it's expensive to make, and it's expensive to lose. It's not like I'm a big wig and I can afford to lose merchandise. I, every deck is, special. So I just decided, I just kind of really slowed down my Etsy shop and pretty much to a stop. So I stopped doing that. I just decided it's not what I want to do. Like, it was nice having a shop, but it's just way easier to let Make Playing Cards handle all of that. So having the shop on makeplayingcards.com to me is just good enough. Anybody who wants my decks can go over there and get them. you know they're not as cheap as you find stuff maybe on Amazon, but it does take a lot of money to make these things. Now here, I'm wondering if I should go with a lighter line, just because. Maybe I will. So I'll pick a lighter color. I don't know, that was pretty light there. So yeah, that's good. So my journey has been kind of weird lately, and like I'm feeling happy and peaceful with doing this work. I'm sorry that I haven't been live, and it's really changed, money situation for me. That's for sure. But there's other things been really trying to take a lot of attention in my life. One of them is my singing group. That's a whole nother story. But also, like the energy that's going on right now with the world, changes in the world. I just feel like there's a sense of holding our breaths until it's over. Like, like when there's when things are sort of unstable, it's almost like you don't want to. It's like you don't want to commit. At least me. It's hard to commit to something. Commit my time. Maybe that's not it. It's something about the energy. It's like I really want to focus on positive energy. And I feel like that whole focus on positive energy takes a lot of time and energy. And it could be other things. I don't know. I just feel like there's a shift happening in my life. And I'm not sure if, so here I'm going to if you go to disc, then you can see what color you're using. And this is a great way to make your palette. You can go lighter or darker, whatever you think. Isn't that weird that this color right here is like greenish? Sort of a greenish color. You would just think it was dark brown, but it's kind of greenish. So yeah, the world. Waiting on the world. Waiting on the world to change. That's what it feels like. It's like feel like I'm waiting on the world to change. And then I'll figure out what I need to do after the world changes. But it's like almost like I can't make any plans while the world is in some kind of limbo or some kind of learning phase or whatever it's going through. And I know that like part of what I should probably be doing, finding ways to raise our vibration. And I believe in that. Oh, but I'm also feel like I'm expanding a lot of energy out into the world to raise the vibration. But I could use your help, I know. Whenever y'all are here with me, you always help me in my mission to raise the vibration. So I guess I also just know, I guess, in a way that I'm going through some kind of transition phase. I also found out that this is my year of my Saturn return. So that's no surprise. It said 54 to 56 or something. Anyway, but I'm 56 and I'm not feeling like bad things are happening. I just feel like the usual as far as finances. It's like there's only been a couple of times in my life where I really felt like I was ahead in the game and when my finances are concerned, or just feeling like the sense of freedom and confidence, I guess. And right now it's it's not the channel that's providing me confidence anymore, let's put it that way. But in a financial sense, but you know in in what I love, it's still always what I love to do. It's just kind of disheartening. Like it's been maybe 3 years since my subscribers have keep going down, like, about 20 to 40 subs every month, and I put out all this energy and energy and energy, and it doesn't seem like it's making much of a difference. But I know that I affect you guys as individuals, certain people out there. I know that this channel means a lot to you, but it's hard, to really understand that, because all I have really to go by is, comments or subs or whatever, the things like that. So then I think, well, I mean, maybe there's enough people like me out there that are helping raise the vibration, and I can focus on other things. So that's what I guess. It's just like I'm going through a lot of thoughts about stuff, and all I know is my favorite thing to do right now is draw on Procreate and create these images. So I want to keep doing the things that I like doing. I do love doing readings for people, but it's so time consuming and like so much energy that gets put out. This is time consuming too, but I feel like my energy is more contained within myself, you know. So it's not quite the same thing. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. But so it is. So it is. I don't know. I didn't know. One of the most satisfying parts of this, I might be able to do some of that now. Let's see. So let's see what would you see? Look what we did so far. Me and you together. Okay, and so one of the fun things to do at this point in the stage is just grab a color like that and go underneath it and take a big brush and see, and then you paint underneath it, and you can keep all the lines that you had, and now you're making it solid. It's even more satisfying when you take away that white background, and then you can see the difference. Now it's I've talked a little bit on some of these some of my shorts that I put out on how that white, like when I'm drawing, I'll turn off and on that white, layer. Okay, kitty. Because sometimes I need to see if it's saturated enough, right? Sometimes the white can be deceiving. You think that you filled something all up, especially like you're drawing a face and the whites of the eyeballs, and then you take away the white and the eyeballs are missing. So it's good to always check that. So I'm just gonna, I mean, that post is pretty dark, but I'm gonna just, oh yeah, that part of the post is kind of, well, I could go in a little darker, like that. Go like that. I'm gonna change, I mean, it's all gonna get more detail as I go. And that's the other thing that I do is like, sometimes you'll see in the in the shorts, you'll see like a piece. So here's how that looks. Okay, so okay, well, maybe I should finish this step first. Okay. Note to self, get back, talk again. And here's how another, you know, the way you can pick up a color is you press down on the color and it pops up right there. So then that's just an easy way of getting that color back that you were using. You can also find it in your history, you know. Sometimes the history gets kind of jumbled up, so you might have to go back to. So I'll just fill it in for now, just to show you how that works. And well, a lot of this is going to be like water color, but later I'll do that. In the short that I did of the Renaissance man, you can see what I do. Like, so the first, this is kind of like, it's going to be lots of layers. When I do layers too, I merge them pretty quickly because I don't like a lot of layers. When I work with James Julier tutorials, though, he has like 15, 16, 17. I mean, I don't know if they've ever gone more than like 19 layers, but he uses lots of layers, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think that's great, but and it's actually very great because in the end, you know, you can pick a layer and add things to it or take away things from it and lighten or darken or blend. You still tweak things even after you feel like you're done going back to particular layers. So I mean, if you like it, that's great, but I I don't know why, but I just don't like having a lot of layers because it just makes me nervous. I don't know. It doesn't make me nervous. I it just doesn't they feel good. I don't like it. I keep some layers, some main layers. Like for instance, I'll just give you an example. Um, let's go to here. So I actually had a lot of layers on this one. There's a lot going on and I had a lot of layers. And I got a little antsy with all the layers. But I decided to, you know, some layers I'm still going to keep. So the guy is on his own layer. I merged her down with the picnic stuff. But and then the rain's on its own layer too, because I like maybe I'll want to do something else with the rain. I don't know, or keep it or take it away or what. I don't know. And then the background's on its own layer. So there you go. Like that's an example. But there's other ones that have lots and lots of layers. Let me just show you one of James Julier's. Okay, let's see. Is this one? This is the one I recently did. Look at all his layers. So, you know, 17 layers. And but the nice thing about that's why I kind of like to do James's tutorials too, is because later I might be able to use some element of the drawing, like if I just like, you know, whatever, not that, but if I just like that much of it, you know, if I didn't like these darker trees, the foreground, if I just like that, because I just like the blues and the greens, then I can take away this layer and then I could copy the canvas as it is. So that's a nice trick, I think. You can take away the layers that you don't really want and create kind of almost a different drawing in a way, you know? What would be something else that I would take away? Maybe these? No. But maybe, you know? I mean, and then you can reuse parts. That's the other thing I love about digital drawing is you can reuse different things that you've drawn. So that's why I created this little accessories file here, because I have bubbles. I can reuse my bubbles in different places. I can reuse, see, this was my whatever chartreuse board or chartreuse board. I can always use that somewhere else, maybe, or I can uh use the apple or something like that. They're not on. It's not on layers anymore, but because I don't like layers. But see, because I can just easily cut out something and use it again, for example. See, and then I can take my eraser and turn it into like a little PNG. I'd rather just take this extra time than even to have a bunch of layers, because I don't know why, but the layers make me feel like there's just too much going on. So there, and then that's just an example. Not the greatest example, but isn't that a nice looking apple? It's kind of juicy. So you just take that, and I get very happy when I look really closely. I mean, those knives, but from a distance they look pretty realistic, right? Anyway, oh yeah, I better get rid of that apple so I don't like scare myself the next time I see it. So then there, that's how you delete. You slide and delete. So yeah, so accessories. I got all these kinds of accessories that I can use. Look, there's Pumpkin. Oh, my Pumpkin. She's so cute. See, I used her for my High Priestess card, and I could use her on another card. I could actually use her in the Sunflower and the Queen of Wands. Still haven't figured out what I'm gonna do with the queens and the pages. Let me see. I got. There's the world from my world card. Other reason why I like to keep them in the little accessory section is, they're pure. It's like when my card is usually done, there's all kinds of stuff lying around, and you can't really appreciate everything. Like this, I worked so hard on it, but you barely see it. You barely see it in my Two of Pentacles. No, Three of Pentacles. Just this little area needed something, and so I was like, okay, I'll draw that with the flowers, and you can barely see it, but it gives it enough balance on that side of the page that it helps. Anyway, so let me just finish this, and then I was gonna talk about. Was I gonna talk about cutting and pasting? Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna do. Okay. So right here is where the guy is walking, but I'm gonna make him a separate layer, so I'm gonna continue that line on. I might need to get a drink. I've been talking for an hour. It's amazing. I didn't think I could do that. Usually when I'm drawing, I am multitasking. I like to listen to music or TV or something while I'm drawing. So there. Okay, here's something that I do. So let's say for instance, I want to get detail of this little posty thing right here. Oh, and before I do that, I'm going to merge the layers down. Now I like to do this. Later I'll be adding details. There's lots of things you can do with this underground layer, the underneath the lines layer. Like for example, here you see some lighter spots. You can go in with these lighter spots The lighter spots. It sounds almost like I'm saying Liederkranz. Lighter spots. The lighter spots. It's a German word called lighter spots. If you want to. Just to, and then here's my smudge tool. Let me turn that up a little. The thing I love about the smudge tool makes me feel like I'm watercoloring, even though I don't have a lot of experience in watercoloring, but it looks a lot like watercoloring, and which gives a lot of my drawings a painterly look, I guess, because of the smudge thing that I do. My background actually is in pencil color portraits. So paper and pencil colors and regular pencils. That was what I used pretty much my whole life. And I did a lot of commission work with in that genre. And so you can give like sort of a hint, I guess, if you want to. Let's get that angle a little bit better. Just so, but I don't know, like in the end I'm gonna end up really doing the colors there anyway, more specifically. Let me go ahead and though get a little bit darker color for that beam, and then I'll show you. Maybe not that dark. Okay. This is just like really relaxing for me. I can imagine how for some people the detail and the monotony of it could make them kind of bored and not even be interested in trying it, you know? I could see how that could be. And there's times in my drawings where, a drawing can reach the ugly phase where you're like, oh my God, is this ever gonna look good? And it does, but the ugly phase is enough to make you say, forget it. So keep on drawing. You'll get to the point where it feels pretty. Okay. All right. So let's say, for example, okay, now I'm going to merge down. I'm just going to merge. That way now merge the lines with this. And the other thing I like about that is if I add anything underneath, like say let's say if I'm ready to add some water underneath. Ew, that's like emerald. For example, if I add the water underneath, see, the bridge is already there. So, and it's kind of blurring into that little sticky thing right there. But I'm not ready to do water yet. Okay. And then I can just delete that layer anyway. But later, I'm gonna do that. I have to decide. I'm gonna have to really plan on my color. That was a very intense. Ooh, but okay. I'm gonna interrupt myself again. Let me just show you the water. Let me just show you some things you can do, just temporarily. All right, let's pick some color over here. I like that. Ooh, pretty. And let's pick like that one. Okay, and then you get your smudge tool, and you can smudge them all together, and it makes nice. It's like, and it feels like watercolor. And that way it's not like this big blob of green where it's like, oh, you can actually use a mixture of colors to make it softer, flowier, not so hard, not so bold. But of course, if you like bold, like if you're like Giggles was talking about cartoons, cartoons can sometimes have like just a very nice, strong, bold line and a bold color, and that's perfectly wonderful, like that's an That's also allowed. That's allowed. See how that green looks sort of brownish. I don't know. I just feel like I need some more of this beautiful aqua over here. Color in here and blend that in. Oh, okay. I was using too much. See, I'll get a little more, a prettier blue. Yeah, it was looking a little olive, which, you know, that there is realism in it, you know, but for purposes. So that's kind of pretty. I might just leave it. Anyways, yeah. All right, so I don't know if I'm gonna merge those down quite yet because I'm not sure I'm 100% happy with the water. But I'm, you know, in the end phase is always going to be changed with more detail or whatnot. Also, I feel like maybe I won't even use much of the water. Maybe it'll be more of a shot like that. Oh no, but I have to keep in that wand. So 1, 2, 3 wands. I think it might end up being a little bit closer. I like just my subject matter to be as close as like the forefront as possible in my drawings. My people, I like having the people as the forefront and also the items that represent the card, like the wands and such. But I really like the people. I'm a portrait artist, so I really like people and I like faces. So I will usually make them close up. Look what I did. How did that happen? So if that happens, you can grab it. It ended up on the wrong layer for some reason. Grab it like, okay, maybe a little bit better. Nope. What did he do? Am I on the right layer? Yeah. Grab it, take it over here and cut and then paste. And then we'll move it. Where did it go? Move it over here. It belongs over here. I don't know what this was. I think it was something, yeah, something like that. Okay, I mean, it's something that's probably going to change eventually. Well, now it's part of this. So I'll merge that down and now it's together. Okay, instead of on this side, which is where it didn't belong. Okay, whatever. I don't know what I did. Sometimes things happen. So here's what I was gonna do. So I'm gonna take this. So you could see what I just did. This is like, I don't know what tool that's called. They don't have the tools labeled. James knows what they're called whenever he uses them. But so we take this one, the freehand, and um, I take this little knobby thing, this part of the dock, and then I'll copy this one, copy, and I'll paste it, and then I'll move it over here. I'll make sure it's on a layer above the bridge so I can see it. So I might even brighten it. So you go over here and then you go to hue, saturation, and brightness, and you brighten it up like that. Okay, and this is where I go into detail. Let me just move it down a little bit. You can just really look at it. You see how it's kind of blurry, so yours is not going to be as blurry because you're working on it. So this is just an example of, this is going to be an example of my end, my final phase kind of thing, because the first phase is is the I'm showing you the phases. Okay, the first phase is the outline. The second phase is the undercolor. And then the third phase is going back with the details, basically. One of the phases, of course, will be for me. And you may or may not see this. Maybe I'll come back and do some other phases with you if you're interested. But one of the phases will be to I might sketch out the guys or whatever, but I'll also do some research on what family members or actors or whatever I'm interested in using, or models, whatever, online models, these figures, people out there. And anybody that wants to be in my deck and wants to be a model, hey, you're you can be part of the deck. And anyway, so I'll do a little research on that. And I usually do the subject matter, the people, separately in a similar fashion as this. I will have them and I'll copy them and copy, make a second copy over here and then make that copy on this side light and then um, sketch them out and get all their details. And then then after I will insert photos. Like I'll I'll go from my library. So like for instance, for my umbrella guy, I had a few handsome young Korean fellas that I borrowed. Actually, there's just one. What was his name? Bae Young, something like that. Anyway, and I was looking for different poses of him. One's with smiles, one's. This one was so pretty, but I started to draw that one, I started to draw that one, and it kind of turned out I don't know. It was a little bit. It just didn't fit the scene too well, so I had to keep working on it. But so it's trial and error. Lots of trial and error. But let's say, for example, insert. So this is the girl that I used for the crying girl. Yeah, and she actually doesn't have any big tears on her. Um, so I used instead. I This was a really neat AI drawing. I thought, wow, that's really amazing. I love what they did, and the pose was perfect and everything. And I loved her outfit. I was like, I do have a lot of modern hints in I have some old school looks and also have more modern looks throughout the deck. So I used a combination of her face and the other lady's face, and that's how I came up with her. So that's kind of my process when it comes to the subject matter. I mix up different things until I feel happy. Of course, with the one where with me and my sister and my sister-in-law, I had a lot of different pictures I could choose from, but I had to choose pictures. Oh, I tried to go for pictures where we were singing already. I didn't have any of my sisters singing, but I had one of her like laughing really cute, and I thought, oh yeah, that's her because sometimes she probably, I can imagine us being in a group and her like finding something funny and just kind of breaking out laughing. So yeah, that's something I would do too, but then sometimes it can get really serious. Anyway, so that was fun to do that. But I have different I have this beautiful picture of Jamie and Claire. I don't know if I'll ever use them, but I thought this is so pretty of them. So sometimes I just see things and I keep it thinking I might use it. Oh, no taking photos. Stop. Inserting photos only. Like look at this. Like this is a really great rain picture when I was looking up things for rain. And this is a good way to see how rain soaks the clothes and everything in the hair. But I didn't get into that much rain with my Three of Swords. It was raining, but not so much that everyone ended up getting drenched. But who knows? That could have been the next thing that happened to that couple right there. Yeah, but I thought this is really pretty. I'm not sure if I'll be able to use it anywhere, but I love the composition of that. It's really pretty. And another one that I really, really want to use is this one. It's like, you guys tell me, like, this would be a good cups card. I'm not sure which. I could even turn her into a mermaid. She looks a lot like my sister. But that's not anything like my brother-in-law. So that would be kind of scandalous. But yeah, I love the clouds and everything. That's really pretty. That one's definitely a good composition. Let me see if I have the couple that I used for the devil card. Let me see in here anywhere. I have so many picnic baskets. I was just going for the perfect picnic basket look, and here I got, like, for my two waves. Some handsome AI guys, mostly. This is very dramatic. That could have been a good Three of Swords, but I feel like I've seen that in a deck somewhere anyway already. I think that already belongs to somebody's deck. That's it then. I'm going to have to clear away some of these unnecessary pictures. Because, again, that's another place where I just don't like to have too much clutter. I think that's it. It's clutter. It feels cluttered when I have too many layers or have too many pictures. Yeah. Anyway, but this is where I would, I would have my artwork that I would pick from. One of the places. Another place is on my drive. Like, if I have a piece somewhere else, like on my phone, or found something on my another computer, so I transfer everything using my Google Drive. I do that a lot. I love that new feature. Okay, so now let's get to some detail. We're going to spend a little time on detail, and that's gonna be the next thing I do and the last thing I do, I guess. So first we'll just get some basic colors. Let's try with the edge. I might go a little lighter maybe than the color shown. I already lightened it up, but no. And oh, that's too big. Get that color and that down a little bit. Now, another thing I can do, maybe I'll show y'all how to do that first, is oh, and I started to color on that layer, which is a bad idea. All right, so we're coloring on this one, the bridge. And so you don't go out of bounds, you can put on the alpha lock, and this is one of the greatest things about, another great thing about digital art. You can color and it won't go off into, you can stay within your lines. In other words, I don't know if you were ever a kid that got yelled at for coloring outside the lines. I don't remember ever getting yelled at for that, but it's I think it's happened. And this way, you don't color outside the lines. Now here it's different because that part of the bridge is in the picture, but the part that's just the edge of the bridge is where that color stays. Okay. And I'm gonna also like a little bit darker. And something like this. And kind of scraggly, scratchy. Jaggedy is what the word I'm looking for. Jaggedy edge. Jaggedy edge like that. Oh, but that's pretty long. Like, how did it get? Oh, I see. I see what we did. All right, so this is interesting. Let's try this. Okay, I'm going to, I am going to just, well, I'm not going to do anything about it right now. I'm going to do the jaggedy edge. All right, I'm going to see where that bottom of it and the jaggedy edge kind of starts like right about here. And then you take this piece right here and you flip it into the water, and it's a reflection. It's a reflection of the water. So that's going to be kind of cool. Actually, yeah. So I'm not going to do anything that's in the water. I am just going to do this much, and then I'm going to take this piece and flip it down and make a reflection. Okay, that's the assignment for tonight. And then I'll be done with that, and then I'll see you next time. All right, so let's get some light over here. Now, when you move these things, this is like 100% opacity. And I think that is the best thing to do in certain spots is 100% opacity. But, you know, really, it really is up to you guys, because James, when he does tutorials, he likes layers, 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 okay? And so every layer, he uses a variety of opacity. And sometimes he gets very, very light in the opacity, because I think he approaches it a lot like a painting. He's an artist himself. He's also a teacher, a professor in school. And so he teaches, and I know I'm talking like I know so much about him, but I only know stuff about him from what he talks about in his tutorials. And anyway, but I've been watching his channel for a few years now. It's quite a few years actually. I remember when I first started watching him, I didn't follow the tutorials at all. I didn't have Procreate or iPad. I didn't have either Procreate or iPad, but I would watch him kind of in an ASMR way, just like enjoyable, and just soothing, and I enjoyed it. And yeah, some of the things that I watched back then in those days are like, I love watching tattoo videos, watching people get tattoos, things like that, and digital art, and Barbie doll uh, redos, whatever you want to call them. The main reason why I had to put it on 100% opacity is to cover that line that I had there. So that's why I'm not always too worried about what color I'm using to make the outline. And by the way, like for cartoons and stuff, you can totally just keep that bold line. But since I'm going for realism, I try to copy, exactly the colors. And I I actually, let me just give you one little example. Uh, when I first started doing my deck, I, where is she? like this. I had, you know, had the black outline, and I was gonna do my whole deck kind of like that, more cartoony and outlined. And then as I went on, I enjoyed making, like, my sister ended up being more realistic and less outlined, and I was like, you know, I kind of like doing that. So I went back. There was only a few people I had to fix, like, see Sammy. He had a strong outline, so I had to go back and redo him. So yeah. But I like it doing this way. And I realize it's gonna take me longer to get my deck done doing it this way, but I'm enjoying the process, you know, just as much as the outcome. So 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 there it is. And so it is. So mote it be. And there's another lady that I enjoyed. I can't remember her name. Christine, I think, was part of her name. But she did a really cool tutorial that where you, and I think I showed you guys with Taylor Swift. Was it Taylor Swift? I don't know. It's one of the drawings I did. She's like, when you color, like, you're not supposed to be coloring like, or you can color any way you want to. Like, there is no real rule, but a helpful thing to do is not to color like what you imagine in your head a post looks like, but just copy what you see and copy um and look at the shapes. So, like she was saying, for example, over here on this lady's face, it's even harder when, I mean, at least it was for me, when you do faces and you just know like a nose looks like this and a mouth looks like that, to not get into that trap of you know, drawing what you think a nose looks like instead of drawing just what you see. And she was saying, see here in this lady's face how it how it goes, how it turns into a triangle, and you're like, wow, yeah. And so you're not drawing a nose, you're drawing a triangle that's in her cheekbone or whatever, you know. That's kind of how it is. It's like, look at that, that's green. That's one of the things that's fun and surprising, is when you're doing this and picking the colors, you're like, what? That's green? Sometimes I don't get like go that nuts over the detail, but okay, then I feel a little bit better about. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you have a whole big space to fill up, make your brush a little bit bigger. So, okay, I have this on Alpha Lock so it doesn't fall over. And I can use my smudge brush to blend it down a little bit. Oh, it's not supposed to do that. How did? Oh, yeah, because of, yeah. Because I'm still on the inside of the picture. Okay. There, it's not supposed to, it won't go anywhere. Okay. So, you know, sometimes you don't even have to put a whole lot of color down. You can just take that color that's there and mess with it. Something like that. No, I didn't mean to do that, but I'll go back and fix it. Yeah, and this part is still dark because it's really, so some of the things that really make shapes and objects come alive is highlights and lowlights, the lighting of things. So that's the one of the fun things. It's like, wow, I'm creating out of a flat, this is a flat computer, a flat screen, but I'm creating something that looks round and alive because of color and dimensions. And see, I automatically curve that a little bit, although I don't see, yeah, you can see it's a bit of a curve, just a little bit of a curve. Maybe that's too curvy, but, and this is something that I thought that I drew, but maybe I didn't. Oh, I probably did draw it, and I colored over it with my background color. But that's okay. You can, and I notice tattoo artists do that. They they have to, tattoos are different because the tattoo is the bold black line. But when tattoo artists shade, there's the shadow um gun that they use too. And what was I gonna say about that? uh so they have to be very careful about their the bold line. All right. Something else that I could have should have done, but I'm not gonna worry about it right now. But see, it's on alpha lock, so it won't. But if you want to a layer, add a layer, and then you add clipping mask. This is like a new thing that I've been doing lately, which is kind of nice. So let's go ahead and do it. I'm gonna take this color. Okay, I'm gonna go lighter, even lighter. So what it does is the clipping mask attaches anything on this layer to this layer, but it frees this layer up so that you can blur it. And blurring and smudge are two of my favorite things to do because it reminds me a lot what I used to do when I was a pencil color, when I did my pencil color drawings. In pencil color, I would lay down layers of color similarly, and then I would take my like white pencil and smudge and blur things together. In pencil color, regular graphite pencil, I would color something and take my finger and smudge it. And that smudging, smoothing, softening it up gave it a lot of depth. Much like what happened with this water, it looks somehow more dimensional because it's swirled and smudged together. So I'll give you a little example. So that just, I mean, that would work maybe, but maybe it looks even better if we blur it. So we go here to Gaussian blur, and then we do that. decide how blurred you want it. And it may just be the first blur to kind of see what it looks like, and then you can add more. The thing about blurring, though, just for example, a blurred line, like, I don't know, right here, it kind of goes over the line, you know, a little bit. It doesn't stay tucked within that line that you drew. So you have to sometimes go over certain lines and things. When this one doesn't matter because that line was kind of, maybe I was going to go over that anyway. Okay, and I'm going to just go ahead and merge that one down, and I'll make another one, clipping mask, and get a little of this darker color. Maybe too dark. Just a tiny bit lighter. And you know what's interesting is like the color here is different from the color right there. So if you really want to get detailed, you know, you keep that in mind. Like, let me show you. See that's kind of green. That's kind of like yellow green, and we were in like an aqua green right next to it. But that allows even more depth to it. And right here is even a little bit of a highlight, but usually when it comes to highlights, I usually kind of see that's best as the last step, because you just lose your highlight if you try to add it right now. We could, though you could. I'm gonna get a little of that darker color right there in that edge. Couple things you can do. You can get your smudge brush and smudge it in like this, you know. It's kind of nice. That's a nice thing to do. Or you can just, now we have it on this layer here, and you can take it to Gaussian blur and blur it in. Sometimes if you blur too much, you create another line that you have to go over it. You blur it in a little bit. And then you can always go back and smudge it in a little bit. Like that. It's kind of some of the things I do. And then I'll merge that layer down. I can create another one and add some more. Like, there you can see that little line right there. And that might be just a solid line that I just don't blur at all, you know? So, yeah. And so some of this is starting to look a little weird because it's almost looking like the edge is right here and this is the shadow. So we have, in order to make it look like it's rounded and then we're at a shadow, we have to add the shadow over there. And when it comes to shadows, I like making it size a little bit bigger and the opacity a little bit lighter, because shadows are supposed to be, you're supposed to see underneath the shadow. But you have to be careful, because if you pick up your pencil and put it back down again, then it makes this. So I'm not going to try not to pick up my pencil. But, you know, when you blur it, use the Gaussian blur, it usually hides those mistakes anyway. Now it looks a little more rounded. Gaussian blur there. And then I'll go back. And add that. it a little bit. Now, I'm just, using some of the things I've learned and picked up. There's a whole probably, I know there's a whole lot more stuff out there that I haven't tried and I don't know how to do yet. And so anybody out there watching that knows stuff and wants to tell me, that's fine. I'll take criticism. But this is a method, like what I've done so far, or just kind of like my little method of doing things that I like to do. But I know there's also probably quicker ways to do certain things. So you see how it's already kind of looking, it's already kind of transforming a little bit there. But there's a lot of detail for one little area, but still, I like the process. I just like it. And it goes, to me, it goes by a lot faster than you might realize. And right here, you can see things get a little bit more jaggedy and things get a little bit more rounded. And this a little bit lighter. Now, here's a fun thing. So let's see what kind of textures we can use to make it look. We got grunge, could be a good one for like giving it some texture. Let me just merge it down and I'll just mess around with this layer for now. Okay, well, let's go lighter so we can see that. That's a little bit too light. And also grunge doesn't seem to be the right tool for our purpose, for what I'm looking for. Okay, this is about the right color. Now we gotta figure out the right tool. So grunge, not so much. Let's try something else. But this is the fun part. I mean, all of it's fun to me. It's like trying out different brushes. So that was, what was that? That was in textures. Let's try, I like things, elements is nice. Spray paints, I used a lot of that. And for my rain, Blackwood's nice. Let's try Blackwood. Maybe make that smaller. See what it looks like here? Can you see? It does look like wood. See, that's pretty good. And that way it's not like you're just drawing with airbrushing. You're with texture, you are you're creating something else. You're creating something that looks worn and weathered, that's been in water, that's also felt sea spray. Okay, now that's getting a little messy, and the only way I can deal with that is if I can blur it. So I gotta add a layer and do the clipping mask. We can go back, and I think I like this brush. What's it called? Blackwood. Oh yeah, I don't want too much over there. That's my highlights. But there is a little bit right there. See right there, for some reason, it got kind of too bold. So either I go back or blur it. Let me see what the Gaussian blur looks like. I don't know. I think I might go back, remove it. Some of it is nice. Maybe if I just don't pick up, maybe I should go in like a lighter opacity. I'll go down to like 70 and not pick up the pencil. Okay. Bring some of that color down this way. Maybe bring some more of it this way. I want, like, this is like kind of light right here. Let's see, get a little bit lighter. Yeah, that looks, see, like a little bit of that kind of gives it a little rugged, crusty vibe. I don't like that. You could like really go into detail and just do every single like stroke. Maybe I'll just delete that and see what we can do instead. Just using, let's see, just using, you know, some of these other brushes are good, like drawing, no, not that one, sketching, or just, let's try that one. That's too big, but that's pretty, a nice texture. Oh, the thing I don't like about some of these brushes that they're like, that works though. Oh, here's a way you can look at your brush too. Go hit your brush and then you can test it right here. And the thing about these brushes, it's like it's like they create a pattern or something. Some of them are like a pre-designed pattern. So you have to be kind of, I mean, it's not okay, you have to be careful. I mean, you can be experimental, but like say for elements, for example, no, not elements, textures. Okay, let me show you, for example, like this one, Victorian. It will draw that much, and then it's like a pattern. Let me just show you on the page. I'll just show you on the new layer. But look. See, it's just like, it's not, you don't know what it is yet until you fill it out. And then, I don't know. I don't know what this is for, having a thing like this. It's a pretty like pattern, like design, but you can't see it until you do all of that. So it's kind of a weird thing to have. If anybody knows the best way to use those kinds of brushes, let me know. But okay. So I kind of like, what was I using here? And also recent will tell you what you were using. Yep. Yeah, so that one's pretty good. I like that one. Okay, so I'm gonna get some more down here. And then this one is, well, this one has a similar issue, but not so bad. I might go back, just, yeah, probably gonna go back. Okay, I'm gonna go back just to airbrush and just to get my color in there. And actually, I could go below it. Below what I did right there. And that way, everything that all that jaggedy stuff will still be there, but the darker color will be there now too. Yeah, but yeah, I'm still I'm still gonna go on top. Okay. And here's where having that clipping mask on is really nice, so you don't end up in coloring your water. That would be such a nice feature to have if you were a watercolor artist. The hardest part about watercolor, like I said, I don't have that much experience in it, but I've tried it a little bit, and it's like, the big issue, of course, is keeping your white, and also you really have to plan before you start coloring where the places need to be lighter and where the places are going to be darker and where to keep things white. And I don't know, it seems, I mean, watercolor is gorgeous, and I would be willing to teach myself or go to school to learn how to do all of that. It's just, yeah, I just like shortcuts sometimes. I just like, I'm gonna get a little bit of that light right here, just a little bit. Catches a little bit down here, a little bit. And kind of a little bit like that. Till smudge it a little bit. All right. Well, I might end up going in a little more details later, but for now, well, I'm gonna add the little knots, and then I think I should do that too. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Okay, let's add the knots in. So the knots are kind of dark, pretty dark. I grab that dark color. I'll go ahead and do that. Let's see. It's kind of right around here. Needs to be a little bit darker. I'm gonna go 100%. Make it nice and intense. And then this line is kind of like this. That. And then I'm gonna like kind of bring it in right here. A little bit like that. Okay, yeah, see? It's shaping. And then that one is a little bit higher right there. And then right here we got one. And I'm just gonna like not press as hard for this one so I don't have to change settings or, just easier. Okay. And the color, this is a little bit darker right here. This one like that. Like that. Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay. Now we'll merge that down and do that one. So I feel like what was I doing? Yeah. I feel like now that we got some good colors laid down, I can just keep grabbing from these colors. That one, that's a good color. Actually, a little bit darker for this block right here. Yep. That's going to be pretty easy because that one doesn't have much texture to it. It's just like that. And then see how dark that right there is. That will help set it off. The dark, the this is, I mean, like I've done art so long, and I'm finally realizing through with the help of James Joyer that the dark and the light next to each other is really what creates depth, you know? And also I've been like I'll watch makeup tutorials and realize, oh, like say for instance you're doing um like you're doing a skeleton or something, a skeleton face, and any kind of like skeleton type face, or Dracula or something like that, where you like, or vampire, yeah, where you doing like really high cheekbones and sunken in cheeks and all and that kind of thing. um it's that contrast between the really dark part of the hollow of your cheek, and then that very bright representation of the highlight of your cheek. And you can get that effect even if you don't have, the bone structure. So a lot of makeup artists will like create great cheekbones from just that combination of lights and darks. I guess that's something a lot of people probably already know, but it's a weird thing that it's not weird that I just figured out, but it's just, and I didn't just figure it out, just noticing it more, I suppose. But as a portrait artist, I look at people's faces a lot. I like to study faces, and I guess, I think it has been kind of more of a phenomenon or thing for people to use a lot of more contours these days than they used to. I don't remember. Okay, well, in the 80s, we did use a lot of, I mean, we like really we put a lot in our hollow of our cheeks. But now it's like this whole defining the nose and all that. And I think when I was younger, it was just trying to wash out your nose was the thing. It wasn't so much like creating, you know what, I think I'm just gonna try to, I don't know what's going on. Oh no, I guess I can't do that. I have to just use this layer. I know I'm supposed to be doing that little brick down there, but I saw something that I needed to fix over here. Okay, now I'm feeling better about this section right here. Okay, all right. Okay, let's go back to the little brick. Now, I feel like you don't have to be somebody who's big into details. You can be like one of those really fast. I mean, art is just one of those things. It's just totally up to what you love to do. And it's also in the eye of the beholder. To me, I love realism, but it's not the only way. There's a lot of gorgeous things out there that, ooh, there's some really, I mean, I have some beautiful decks by artists who are, and I get decks, I get tarot decks a lot because of a particular artist style. I happen though to like realism a lot, so I did. I mean, when I started off, I did get a lot of decks that were more realistic, but the art and photorealism was huge when I first started. It was like Doreen Virtue. She used this one artist, David something or other, who he did a lot of that photorealism. He's a really good artist, but he would like take an already designed piece of art by somebody else, could have been, usually it was like a pre-Raphaelite artist or something like that. So, a common what am I trying to say? Something that was allowed to be used. In other words, it wasn't copyrighted or anything, but he would take the he would take, like, I noticed he did this on, there's this one card, I think it's Three of Cups, his Three of Cups in the fairy, is it in the Fairy Tarot? I think it is, where I'm like, I recognize those ladies. And they're Gil, Evelyn, anyway, the pinup girl artist. That's another kind of genre I love, is pinup girls. And the pinup girl artist, Gil Evelyn, something like that. Anyway, he has some really pretty pinup girls, and I recognize them as fairies in Doreen Virtue's deck. I'm like, I've seen those girls before. But it's like the scenery is all different and stuff. So that, I mean, to be honest, that intrigued me how he did that. I was like, ooh, I, you know, I wonder how hard that is. This was before I had, my iPad and I knew anything about digital drawing. But he already was using digital drawing to incorporate, a combination of art and photography and other people's elements. Like a lot of Colette Baron Reed's artworks back then, and her decks were like that too. It was like kind of a little like what is it when you cut paper and then you layer pieces of paper on top of each other? Um, yeah. Well, anyway, that kind of thing. A lot of the art that she used looked like that. But it's also because in those days, like the photorealistic art, digital art was kind of like, was made a lot of use of layers, and layering elements as if it was like like kind of like a scrapbook, layering papers. Let me blur it. So here's something that happens sometimes when you blur it. It goes over the edge, and sometimes it creates that. So I don't like to do too much. It's only 1% and it's already, maybe I won't blur it. I'm just gonna go over it with a lighter color. Yes. Yeah, so, but isn't it crazy how, I mean, stuff has changed even in the art world so fast now with AI. I haven't really seen any like AI tarot decks though. Oh, that'll be nuts though if that happens, but it is what it is. I feel like, digital, it seems kind of funny that I'm learning digital art now that digital art is not quite as popular as it used to be, but whatever. I think everything old is will be new again anyway, because I think that AI is kind of gonna get people are already annoyed with it. It there are I happen to think there's a lot of really pretty stuff out there, but I think there's a lot of people who are also concerned about the impact it has on the environment. And that's something that I didn't really think too much about before, but now, yeah, I don't like that part of it too much myself. So I I feel like, people like me who can who can create things for you, we need to be able to be put to work. And people who like really make beautiful oil and watercolor paintings and acrylic paintings. I'd like to do some of the big paintings too. It's a little, more expensive, and I and then I have cats. I mean, the cats were all over me while I was working on this, but like at least like it's something that I didn't put that on a layer. Let's see. Let me just get rid of them. Uh, so what was I saying? uh, but yeah, with cats, I need like a this bedroom right here. I mean, not this bedroom. This room is my basically my art studio and my general studio. But it turned into, once I got Luke and Leia, kind of turned into their room, and so cats come in and out of here a little bit too much for me to have any safe place to put artwork. Well, I have thought about maybe I can put it on, like I can just hang it and keep it'll be safe if I hang it on the wall. I don't know. Now, here's something that you can do. If you feel like the intensity of something is too deep, you can always lower it like that, the opacity, like that. That's a that's a thing to do. I'm gonna keep that like that. Okay, and I need to blend in this line a little bit. I don't know why it's still. Okay, and let's see what else. Any other details? Get a little of that. Now, I'm gonna take off the alpha log. I don't need to constantly have that on all the time unless I'm like, and let's see. Oh, darn it. Look at what I did. That's a shadow right there. I'm so silly. Okay, so all of this is like supposed to keep going. Let's just keep. Okay, I'm gonna put it back on alpha log because it's gonna go in the water. I'm gonna just push it over and see. Oh, it's time for me to go to sleep. See, that'll work. And then I'll go with a dark color for the shadow. And this time I need to add the clipping mask. Oh yeah, this line is a little bit darker too. Okay, one One dark line at a time. You guys helped me get a lot done tonight. Thank you. I didn't think I was gonna like this at all, talking to you while I'm drawing, because I'm like usually in my own world and staying very quiet as I do my work. I didn't get that copy that whole piece, but basically I'll just keep that like that. Okay, and then there's a little bit of that. And okay, and then get a little bit bigger. So there's like one shadow from one and then another shadow. I wonder if I could just pull that down, this shadow down like that, from borrow that. Yeah, that's good enough. Make it a little bit bigger. Not too much bigger. And it won't go into the water. See? Aren't we brilliant? And maybe just like a few like lines like that. There you go. All right. Hey, pretty cute. All right, but I think it's a little light, so I might add a little bit more color to it. No, I don't know if I go into this much detail, but you know, like I know that Renaissance man guy. I did get really detailed with him. So sometimes I do. I might like little unimportant things like docs, not always go into this much detail, but I just wanted to show you for sample purposes. I'm gonna go over this corner because mine looks so sharp, but it's worn and weathered, so it don't need to be that sharp. There we go. Okie doke. Alrighty, so another thing that looks kind of weird is that I got this kind of bump. So I'm gonna cut it off a little bit. Alright, then I gotta take it off alpha lock. So I don't know what, I guess when I was outlining it, I saw this as a square and I didn't take into consideration that this whole, it is kind of, I think it's maybe because of the colors down there. So I'm just gonna cut it a little bit with the eraser, very gently, slightly. I've already, you know, the thing is, as an artist drawing pencil color portraits, it would take me, you know, a little while to do it. And I had a pretty good collection of them, but never have I had this huge of a library of images in my life. Like I already have 30, 32 images for my tarot deck done. That's a lot, you know? That's more than I thought I would do. And when I did images for my My Lenormand deck, it was before I had Procreate, and it was very laborious. And I was doing a lot of more of that photo realism stuff, like grabbing pictures and mixing them with, my art. And yeah, so let's now do a flipperoo. This is gonna be the fun part because the whole thing is fun. Okay, so this is, like it's on its own layer, and but I'm gonna take away the water for now just so you can see what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna take this cutting freehand tool. You can use freehand, rectangle, you can use whatever you want. You could actually use the rectangle. I'll show you what the rectangle does. The rectangle just takes a rectangular part. And I think that would be good. So then I'll copy it and paste it. And then I'll flip it vertical. And then we have this reflection. So I'm probably, yeah. So I'm gonna have to erase some of that tan. Probably cut it in the wrong spot, but that's okay. So I'm cutting the tan away. So it's right there. It's like, if you can see that it's dark right there, and then this is kind of where the water hits right here. I keep moving this, bumping this around. Okay. So I'm gonna fill that part in with a dark color. Actually, go back to here. I don't know what that is. And maybe not. Okay. So I will now merge them together. I'm going to go ahead and add back the water. So now you're going to see the reflection be created. So I'm going to get like, I don't know, this dark color right here. And we're going to stay in airbrushing and just do like that. I'm not sure where one ends and where one begins, but did I make a new layer? Yep. So I'm gonna blur it. Oh, you know what I did that I didn't mean to do? Here, let's see if I can go back. I'm gonna go back. Doot, 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 doot. Okay. What I'm gonna do, there's a couple things I need to do before I blend it down. Yeah. First of all, I think I'm gonna blur. I'm gonna Gaussian. I could Gaussian blur it, but I can also do motion blur, which is kind of a cool thing. So it's like, it looks like water. It's like, like it blurs like that, like as if there's a ripple in the water. Another thing that I can do is darken it just a little bit just a tad, like 1.2 there. All right, and now we will add back the water and blur and merge this down, and then do that color again. Wait, and back like this. And blur that. Gaussian blur that. Yeah, that looks nice. And I'm gonna merge that down, but then I'm gonna add a little bit more on the edges. And you can see how, how it'll blend in, and you see how there's like motion in the water. Yeah, I might just grab a little bit of that bottom part, like in a little rectangle right here. And let's see, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? Perspective. I'll motion blur. Let me see if I motion blur it. Yeah, just a little bit more. There, see? Now it looks a little more like water is running through it. Maybe I should darken it even more. Let's go again. And that's better. 47. Maybe too much. Maybe if we gotta have to blend a little bit. To the edges, blend the edges together. There we go. There. And maybe just maybe a hint of water going over it. Well, we'll see. I might not keep that, but I can do something like that. See, that can help, In the end, I might try something like that. I don't know if I want to keep that or not. If I blur it out, how that, yeah, it looks, it does kind of give it a little more dimension, but I'm gonna, those kind of details, things I usually add to the end. So there we go, guys. We did our assignment for the night. Yes, I made that little post in the water. And now you can see from a distance how that works. And that's just like one small little spot, but honestly, it's not that much. It's a lot. I mean, we did a lot, or I did a lot in that amount of time, and to create a part of the image that looks pretty realistic. Unfortunately, I think I might end up, not even seeing that part is going to be zoomed in. But anyway, it's for demonstration purposes. So I hope you like that, and hope you don't mind that I do this. If you guys, I'm still doing readings. I'm still here. Anytime you want a reading, reach out to me via artladyjas@gmail.com, and I can do any length of reading that you like. Check out my channel, my playlist. Under all my videos are description boxes that have all my different places where you can find me and information, and yeah, just lots of details. I have tons of videos out there. There's so many videos that I've done already that, and there are a lot of them that are very timeless. Like really just check out the library and pick a video and let it speak to you, because there's a lot of videos out there that could represent things that you need to know right now. And not that I'm lazy and not going to do any more videos. In fact, I did do a March one, so check that out. And I'm still planning to do a fire horse Lunar New Year reading. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. So check out the videos that I do, and the shorter ones that I've been doing, the 10-minute ones where I kind of give you like love life updates. Those are fun too. And your this weekend videos. I don't know if I'm gonna do one tomorrow or not. I I usually like wait till I get glammed up, and I'm kind of not glammed up right now. but um but I still might do that. So yeah, but I appreciate you being here with me in this journey of this art journey, and I'm excited about my deck. Like I said, it's the most amount of pictures I've ever done. Look at, like, I have all of the major arcana done. I have all the aces, all the twos, and now I'm almost done with the threes. I'm on my last one of the threes, which is the three of wands. So that is like 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37 pictures that I've done. This is a picture of my stepdad that I did a while back. And I'm like, when I did him, I was like, you know what? I mean, my stepdad's Capricorn. I was gonna make him the devil, but that just didn't suit him. And he's actually like loves to make wine, so I thought he'd be a good Seven of Pentacles. So I kind of have him hanging out there for the sevens. I think that'll work, and it's perfect because of the whole archetype thing that I'm doing. So yeah. So thank you again, and definitely become a Patreon if you want to keep seeing more stuff. And I'll be putting out more like digital time-lapse videos too, because I have fun doing that. Um, yeah, I'm gonna do make a time-lapse video on the Three of Swords that I just did. Oh, in fact, you can have a sneak preview. Anybody that's here tonight watching gets a little bit of a... So this is another fun feature, you guys. Um, um, After you finish doing your Procreate drawing, you can save it. So I'll just use my pencil again. You can share. You can share and save it as a like JPEG, let's say, and you can save it, to your computer. You could save it to your drive, however you want to do that. Save it to your files, however you want to. Another fun feature is you can create a video of it. So, this is the time-lapse replay of just this much of it. So it's me like fixing the tree and then adding them and doing the rain and la 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 and so on and so forth. So, but I also have time lapse. I'm gonna add that. I'm gonna add the individual figures time lapse to that if you like. I think James Julier time lapse videos are more fun because of the way he layers and layers and layers, and these are kind of not, I don't know. I like mine okay, but I think I enjoyed a lot doing my Renaissance Man time lapse because some of the video I showed my own hand drawing it, so that kind of tied in with with the time lapse part of the video. I think that worked pretty good. So that's the other thing about, doing this channel is like there's a lot behind the scenes of work that I do to try to bring you the enjoyment, the filmmaking and the editing and there's a lot of work that goes on there. I I feel like there's other tools you can use like some of my favorite there's like Liquify. You can okay, I'm not gonna destroy my picture, but like here's a fun one. Liquify. You can do like a swirl. Okay, come on. Pressure. Size. Pressure. Yeah, see, swirl, and then reset it because swirl left. You can just tap it, makes that kind of thing. Push is nice because push. It can help. Like sometimes I'll show you on these guys. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, his head is too big. What's wrong with his head? So I liquefy it and push it back into place. Like, okay. Right? Wait, where am I? Oh, okay, yeah, I need to go on his layer. Is it this one? No, this one. Yeah. But it moves a lot, you got to be careful because it can move a lot of the page. If you want just his head, you got to maybe turn down the size just a little bit and you can like, do some fun distortions. Anywho, but those are some things. I gotta be sure I didn't like swirl my Alright, did everything look okay? All good, all good. Yeah. That almost like looks hollow, and I think it's supposed to, yeah, it should be a bump. Well, we'll fix that. Let me see if I need to fix that. If I feel like I can fix it by just kind of brushing it like that. Oh, I use my not look any better. Yeah. Alrighty. Anyway, small thing. Okay, so that's it for now. And just like I said, you know where to find me if there's anything that you need. And I'm gonna keep on doing content, but in my own way, in my own pace. And I think I'll go live with cards on Friday if you want. Leave a comment and a like and subscribe if you're new. And thank you all for being here. Until next time, I trust the pixie dust.